Remind everybody that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
It does not matter where you stand, nor what it is you feel is grand. Magic is all around. Magic is never gone, and it is more than you will ever know. Entrust us, entrust her, for here you will find that the lost magics have never disappeared.
Hello guys and welcome to the Lost Magics. You are with Sherry Brett tonight. I have obviously got a lovely guest that's joining me tonight for the Halloween special. That is our lovely Curtis. I'm going to be starting the show off with showing an investigation at the Witch's Wood that Curtis went to. That's about 15 minutes long. Then I've got a few short Halloween videos that he sent over as well that I'm going to also play for the show. Then we will be going in to my creepy stories to get you in the mood for the Halloween month and to get your spirits up and ready. So I just want to do a big shout out to everybody that's in the room and coming and supporting us, to all of our sponsors, our supporters, our TV people that put us all out there, and obviously to lovely Dakota and Chris for allowing us to be able to do this every day through the amazing company. So let's get freaky and let's get into the mood of Halloween. And quickly, how are you, Curtis? You okay? Anything you'd like to say to the guys quick?
I'm doing good. I'm just happy to be here.
It's really good to have you on here. So we're going to get straight into it. So first I'm going to be showing you some videos and stuff that Curtis sent over. So I'm just going to go and get them up. So just give me 2 minutes. So this first one is the Witch's Wood. Okay, so this was an investigation that Curtis went and done. And we're going to bring it up onto the screen. And I'm going to just make it big. And just comment in the room, guys. Let us know what you think of it. And if you see anything or anything weird, just let me know. So we'll start that off.
Kurt Schweiger Jr. here. I'm heading to the Witch's Woods, and I'm heading to the Witch Grave. So, and I'm going to try to get some EVPs. Now, here is where I was always told the Witch's Grave. So, I'm going to try and get some EVPs. This is her tombstone. That's what I'm told. There's a crow right over me there. Is there anybody here with me? I was always told this is where the witch of the woods lived. Can you tell me your name, or should I be here, or I'm getting hollered at by a bunch of crows here, but this is where the cabin was years ago. Are you the mean woman who used to live in these woods? Can you give me a yes or a no, or if you want me to leave or what? I had nothing against you, and I always never said nothing. I was just a teenager back then, but I heard things that you hurt people out here in the woods. Is that true? Did you hurt people out here? Little children who used to come out here, did you hurt them? Because that's what I was told you did. Is this your tombstone? Or isn't it your tombstone? Because I really don't know. I'm just here to get an answer. People told me you were very cruel to people. They entered these woods and you used to be cruel. Is that true? I'm listening to this.
Back at the old witch woods. Is there anybody in here with me? By this old witch tree? Say something to me if you can. Sure, I think I got a woman's voice last time I was here. Last time I was here, there was no crow feather or in the old witch tree. So witches live down in here? That just looks pretty strange to me. So witches going down in here? Did they come down in here years ago? I heard they came down in here. So it looks, it's older than it looks. I know that tree right there. Are you in here? Can you take?
Are you here, witch? They said you were cruel and mean. If you're here, let me know you're here. I'm going to use my EVP voice recorder that I'm going to record. And I want to hear you say to me, that you weren't cruel. You weren't mean. Can you tell me that? Otherwise, I'm just going to leave. I've been getting all kinds of stuff, of people playing pranks on me. I've had pranks played on me. I fell a couple times. There's been stick figures. There's been crow feathers. And if you're helping to do that, I'd like to know. I'm only coming here to find out answers. I'm only coming here to find out when I was a teenager, the people told me that you did what you did. So I don't know. I don't know if you're mean. I don't know what you are. I just was told stories that you were cruel and mean, hurt children. When I come down, they come down in here, you would hurt them. Is that true? Tell me on my voice recorder. I don't know unless you tell me what you did. I only heard stories that you were cruel. Tell me they weren't cruel. I just want to go back down in here just for a second because I want to see if that stick figures here or if the stick figures here. Then still, I just want to see the crow thing, the crow feather and the whatever there. So I can get down in here without breaking my neck. Yeah, that stick figure's still there, but that was never here. That's still there. That crow feather and stick feather is gone, and that is totally destroyed. I don't know. I'm only here to find out answers and find out what's going on. I only heard certain things, so I don't know. Wow, that's a big hole. Must be a big foot check. Oh. Is that old witch function? I gotta ask that witch a couple more questions. And then I'm leaving. I'm only here to ask you a few more questions. Were you cruel? Is this a place where they used to have rituals in here? And witches came down in here? Is this a place where that stuff happened? Can you at least tell me that, or are you going to never tell me? Because this is my last time here. I've had games played on me. I have stick figures in the trees. I've had crow feathers and figures and trees. And I know for a fact this is where a place where a lot of people told me this is where witches came. And if you are the main witch, tell me the truth. Don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. If you're here, show yourself to me. And if you're not here, don't say anything. But I want to know the truth. I want to know if you're either here or you ever was here. Because I was always told these stories. That there was rituals down in here. There was animals that was killed down in here. Cults came down in here. I'm going to go back through my voice recorder and see what I got. At least you should be able to have nerve enough to let me know that you are here and that you're the main witch. If you're not the main witch, don't say anything. If you are the main witch, let me know on my voice recorder that this stuff happened, because it was always a question for me growing up as a kid. I'm going to leave now. I've been here 5 times and I've gotten nothing. All I've gotten was pranks. So I'm going to leave now. What all this is all the foundation to the old witch cabin. At least that's what I was told. I don't know what that figure is. It looks like a bunch of sticks gathered together. I have no idea. And that one.
So that was the first video, and a very interesting one. Definitely agree. It does look very creepy. That I could feel a lot of energy there. So most definitely an interesting place.
Did you hear the crows though? How they kept cawing?
They do say that crows hang around places that are to do with, like death and things like that. So very much so. I could definitely agree with that.
I think I was too aggressive though. I said I didn't want to get her mad at me, you know. I think I was a little bit too.
Yeah, no, sometimes you do have to be careful with how you speak to them and stuff like that, because they might take that as an offence and then they may not communicate with you because of that. Like, you weren't nasty, you wasn't being like swearing or doing anything horrible. You was just, but yeah, you was quite firm in what you were saying, sort of thing. And some spirits might take that a bit offensive, but everybody has to learn, don't they? So
Yeah, there was a lot of
Um,
weird stuff that had happened down there too. Pranks played, stuff in the trees, and
Yeah.
I think
So I'm going to
somebody.
bring up the next video, the next couple of videos, because obviously I've got them all saved onto my messenger because it's easier just to do that. So I'm bringing up the ones as it comes. So the next one is Emily from Angels and Demons and the Strange Experiences. So this one is another one that I'm wanting to bring up. So we got that one. Put that onto full screen. These videos are more short, guys. So some of these are not very long. So just enjoy and let us know what you think.
Experience number 10. Another experience I had was in the summer of 1980 on one of those first jobs I had. I worked on the road for a few months, trimming trees and mowing graveyards. My ride would pick me up at 7 a.m. every morning without fail. I finished my coffee and hopped in the car, and we went off to our jobs. On this morning, we had to cut trees and shrubs. We finished clearing the roads of any rocks and debris that were in the way of cars going freely on their way. It was a long day, but everything went well. We finished our shift, punched out, and went home. I ate dinner and went to bed early. I knew I had to get up early the next morning because we'd be mowing some of the local graveyards. I got up about 5:30 a.m., had my coffee and ate breakfast, and went outside to wait for my ride. We would take turns driving, me one week and my friend the other. He pulled up and we got to work and punched in. We both went with separate crews. When we went to one of the local graveyards, one would mow and another would do the weed eating, and others would do the raking and clearing. Well, I was at the end of the graveyard, way in the back. There were 4 or 5 graves. One was all alone and unkept, like no one had ever raked it or cleared it of leaves and other debris. So I bent over and swept the gravestone of dirt and moss. I finally started to notice a name. I got a bottle of water and continued to clean the stone. The name was clear. Her name was Emily, 1880 to 1898, when she was born and when she died. I finished clearing the gravesite, and I even fixed the gate door that was on the fence that surrounded the grave. All that was left to do now was to mow, weed eat, and rake a little. So I grabbed my mower, rake, and weed eater and started to finish cleaning up around the gravesite. I noticed right over her grave was a crack. The ground was cracked and looked swollen or puffed up like it moved. I bent over and raked it and went and got a shovel because I thought I might be able to fix it. I started raking it some more, and I heard a moan, and the ground moved beneath me. I heard another moan, and the ground moved like it was breathing under my feet. I felt movement, and I ran and left my tools. Another thing I can't explain is that the crew was gone, and the sun was going down. The tombstones were throwing shadows that looked like figures. I came to work at 7 a.m., and when I left the graveyard, it was 8:45 at night. The crew had quit working at 3:30 in the afternoon and left another guy there with me. I never saw another worker there with me. The guy at work said he quit and they never saw him again. I decided to quit the next day. That was one day of work that scared the hell out of me, and once again, I can't explain the missing time. This has happened to me a couple of times before. I just can't explain it, and I don't think I ever will.
So that was the second video. So now we're just going to bring up the third one. We're just trying to get through them because I've got two more after this, after these two that I show. So there's 4 more, and then we'll get on to my story thing. But we'll say a little thing about what we thought about the stories and stuff. So the next one we're going to do is the Angels and Demon Experience, another one. So we're just going to bring that up. What's that one? Is that up? No, it's not. Why isn't the video going up there? Oh, there it is. We've got like 3 more after this, guys. Bear with me.
Number 8. Right around the same year, give or take a year or two, my brother and I were excited about Halloween. We were at our grandparents' house just playing in the backyard like we always did. Sometimes we'd walk down by the river and up the road and in the woods close to our house. We were walking up this little roadway, and parked there in a little pickup truck was an old couple with the back of the truck down. It looked like they had tools, hammers, and other things in there, including candy apples on the back of the truck. They seemed odd acting, but they were nice to us. The man looked normal. The old woman, however, looked like a little old witch with a black shawl around her shoulders and a long hooked nose and cane straight out of a Halloween movie. We walked over to the back of the truck. The old lady said, "Do you boys want a couple of candy apples?" We said, "Yes, sure." So she grabbed a couple apples and wrapped them in red wrappers. We took them and said, "Thank you very much." We started walking back to our grandparents' house, and for some reason, we didn't eat them yet. When we got back to the house, our grandmother was making lunch. So after lunch, we went on the back porch to eat our apples. My brother unwrapped his, and I unwrapped mine and took a bite and immediately spit it out. It was filled with tacks and nails. Our grandparents drove us up the road to see if we could find the old couple. We pulled in right where they were parked. Nothing was there. It was like they disappeared, just like they were never there. We never saw the old couple again, but I learned not to take anything from someone you don't know. I always wondered what would have happened if I would have finished that apple.
That's a pretty creepy one. Right, so
Kind
let's
of-
bring the next one up. We've got three more. Have we got 3 more? We've got 2 more by the looks of it.
That was kind of funny, wasn't it? That was a true story.
Yeah. And so I take it these are like stories that people have experienced and had happened to them, and you read them out, or are these things that have happened to you? Right, next one. There's 3 more by the looks of it. I don't know where my Facebook one's gone.
Hi, this is Kurt Schwager Jr. with an evidence review video from the Witch Woods. Some strange things on here that I'd like to have people hear. Happy Halloween.
Next one. Oh, I've shared my one there for some reason. So there's one more, guys, from Mr. Curtis. Let me just bring that up. Not that one. So this is the last one from Curtis. Enjoy, guys. By the looks of it, they were all of the shows that Curtis done. So we had a very interesting investigation at the Witchwoods, and we had several very creepy stories. One to do with the graveyard, and one to do with an apple and a strange couple. So very odd things. I'm sure that there was another one. There was an EVP or something. Just let me have a look. Yeah, no, we've just done that one. So yeah, no. So yeah, so very interesting stuff there, Curtis. And the investigation was most definitely interesting. And so you've done that several times. You were saying you've gone to the Witchwoods and you've had experiences in that, which are really, really interesting. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is get on to doing my creepy stories for the show, because obviously we are celebrating Halloween. 2 of the lights have already gone out for some reason, but there you go. That's candles for you. So I'm going to read some stories. Hello, Scottish Outlook. How are you? Hello, Hex Box. Obviously to the guys as well, to Parapost Network, the Paranormal United Network, Parallax, hello. Bold and Bonker Boys, obviously. Ghost Squad Scotland, hello. Obviously to Curtis as well, and to anybody else that's watching on all of the other platforms as well, hello, hello, hello. And happy Halloween. So I am going to do a few stories and read a few things out to you, because it is the month of Halloween. So I thought we need to get a little bit creepy in that. So I went to a website called scaryforkids.com. And there's loads of different stories you can come out with and read. And they're quite creepy. So the first story I'm going to be reading to you is called The Thing. Okay, so let me know what you think, guys. The Thing is a scary story about 2 young boys who see something horrible in a cornfield at night. It is based on a Nova Scotian folk tale in a book, Blue Nose Ghosts. A version of this story appeared in the book Scary Stories to tell in the dark, which is what part of this website is about. So a big shout out to all of them for putting these really cool stories up. There was two young boys named Trevor and Will. They spent most of their summer vacation hanging out around town looking for things to do. One hot August night, the boys were sitting on a fence by the main road. There was a cornfield just across the road. Suddenly, Trevor spotted something in the field, in the darkness. It was difficult to make out, but he thought it looked like some kind of weird animal. He nudged his friend and pointed in the direction of the strange-looking figure. Will said he could see it too. He wasn't sure, but mysterious things seemed vaguely human. The next thing they knew, the thing was gone. The boys craned their necks and scanned the field with their eyes. Out of the blackness came this thing. It slowly walked over to the edge of the field before disappearing again. Trevor and Will looked at each other, puzzled. "What was that?" asked Will. "I have no idea," replied Trevor. No sooner had he said that than Trevor felt a clammy hand on his shoulder. He turned around and found himself staring directly into the hideous face of the thing. He let out a yell of terror and surprise. The rotting skin of the thing's face was coming off in places, revealing the bone underneath. For a moment, it just stared slightly at Trevor with its dark, sunken eyes. Then, it suddenly grabbed hold of his arm. Trevor felt its fingertips dig into his flesh as he wriggled out of its grasp. The two boys leaped off of the fence and ran down the road screaming in horror. They didn't stop running until they reached the homes. They tried to tell their parents and friends about the thing they had seen that night, but nobody believed them. When Trevor woke up the next day, the scratches on his arms were still there. After a few days, they got worse and worse. Trevor got sick and his parents took him to the doctors. After examining his arm, the doctor told the boy it was infected and gave him some pills to take. Unfortunately, Trevor's condition got worse and worse. The infection spread to his entire arm, and it wasn't long before his flesh was rotting and falling off. He was taken to hospital, but no matter what the doctor did, no treatment seemed to work. The infection spread throughout his whole body. Trevor was confirmed to bed and started to waste away. It seemed like he was beyond help, and as the days went by, he sadly grew worse and worse. His anguished parents could only sit at his bedside and cry as they watched their beloved son slowly rotting away before their eyes. On the day that Trevor finally passed away, Will come to the hospital to visit him. When the boy walked into the hospital room and saw Trevor laying in bed, he was horrified. His friend looked exactly like that thing. That's a really screwed up tale. Poor guy.
It's different.
Yeah. So then the next one is called Harold. So we'll see what this one is about. So this is about a scarecrow. The scarecrow is a scary story about a farmer who builds the scariest and most hideous of all scarecrows to take care of his farm. There was an old farmer in Arizona who owned the best farm in the area. Everybody said his crops were the best, and people came from all over to buy their goods from him. Whenever people asked him how he was able to grow such good quality crops, the old farmer would say, It was all down to his scarecrow. The old scarecrow is the one I ha- That old scarecrow is the one I have to thank," said the farmer. "He makes sure that no crows or critters or pests come near the crops." The old farmer had built the scarecrow himself, and it was a fearsome sight. He spent months working on it to make it as scary as possible. He knew how important it was to keep pests away from the crops. So he gave it enormous straw arms and stretched out about 6 feet and big long legs that made it as tall as a tree. But the scariest thing about the scarecrow was its head. The farmer carved it himself out of a huge pumpkin. He spent countless days and nights performing his design until it was perfect. The scarecrow's face and head was so grotesque and ugly that even he was sometimes scared to look at it. But it was very effective, scaring away every rodent and bird that ventured near. The neighbouring farm was owned by two young men who were brothers named Josh and Harold. They were lazy and never did much work around the farm, which resulted in the crops being bad. They were jealous of the old farmer's success and were plotting against him. If they could drive him out of the business, they could take over his farm and make more money. So one night the brothers decided to sneak out into the old farming land. They stole his prized scarecrow and brought it back to their own house, where they stuffed it into an old closet so nobody would ever find it. The next day, the farmer woke up to find his hideous scarecrow missing and all of his crops being eaten by rats and crows. He fell to his knees and cried, knowing that his farm would soon be out of business. Meanwhile, the brothers Josh and Harold were watching from their own property and couldn't help laughing out loud when they saw the old man's tears of grief. Hearing the laughter, the old farmer came over and asked them if they knew what had happened to his scarecrow. The brothers looked at him right in the eyes and said they had no idea where his precious scarecrow may be. "But I'll go out of business and have to sell my farm if I can't find my scarecrow," said the farmer. Josh just laughed in his face, saying, "That's just your tough luck, isn't it?" "Sucks to be you," giggled Harold. The old farmer walked slowly back to the house, his head hanging down in defeat and depression. The night as Josh and Harold had trouble sleeping, not because they felt any remorse, but because they couldn't get the image of the scarecrow's horrible twisted face out of their minds. They decided they would never be able to sleep as long as that ugly pumpkin head was in their house. So they got up and dragged the scarecrow out of the closet. Harold took a baseball bat and smashed the scarecrow's head to pieces until all of that was left was a little bits of pumpkin stewed around the floor. The brothers swept up the pumpkin head pieces and threw them into the trash. Then they went back to bed and were soon fast asleep, having put all thoughts of disgusting scarecrow faces out of their heads. Sometime after midnight, Josh and Harold were awoken by a sound of scratching and clawing at the bedroom door. "Did you forget to put the dog out?" asked Harold sleepily. "Brr, dog? Have a dog?" stumbled Josh. Suddenly, the bedroom door burst open, and a solitary low straw arm sneaked in through the opening. Then a second arm thrashed around, followed by two long stick legs. The two brothers were frozen in fear and could only look with horror as the headless scarecrow's body rose up upon its long stick legs and its long arms reached out for them in the darkness. Harold felt a cold sinewy straw claw close around his ankle and screamed as loud as he could. He begged his brother Josh to help him, but Josh was already running out of the bedroom, fleeing in terror. He ran down the hallway, crashed through the front door, and out into the moonlight road. He ran as fast as his legs could take him, carrying, puffing, and panting and screaming at the top of his voice. As he passed his neighbour's house, he saw the old farmer standing at his gate. In the moonlight, he could see the farmer just staring at him with a strange smile on his face. Josh kept running, his bare feet slapping against the rough gravel road. He glanced back over his shoulders and saw something that scared him to his very soul. He saw the scarecrow running along the road close behind him. It was gaining on him, coming closer and closer, and that wasn't all he saw. He noticed that the scarecrow had a brand new head, and it looked a lot like Harold.
That's pretty cool.
Whoa.
That was a good one. That was a good one. That was cool.
That one give me a bit of a whoop.
That was cool.
Next one, the red spot. Sounds like a random one. The red spot is a short story about a young girl who wakes up one morning with a strange blemish on her face. It is based on an urban legend called the spider bite, or the spiders in the cheek. A version of this story appeared in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Skewers. One night, a young girl was sleeping in her bed when a spider crawled across her face. It stopped for a few minutes on her left cheek, then it went on its way. When she woke up the next morning and looked in the mirror, she noticed a red spot on her cheek. "What's this?" she asked her mother. "It looks like a spider bite," her mother replied. "It will go away, just don't scratch it." Soon the small red spot grew into a big red boil. "Look at it now," the girl said. "It's getting bigger." "That sometimes happens," her mother said. "It's coming to a head." In a few days, the red spot was even larger. "Look at it now," the girl said. "It hurts so much and it makes me look so ugly." "We'll have the doctor look at it," her mother said. "Maybe it's infected." But the doctor couldn't see the girl until the next day. That night, she decided to take a nice relaxing bath. As she lay soaking in the warm water, the boil suddenly burst and out poured a swarm of tiny spiders from the eggs this
Oh,
mother had laid in her cheek.
ooh,
Yuck.
oh, that
Ooh,
is
ooh, ooh,
pretty,
ooh, ooh. A bit of gory
pretty.
horror.
Oh, that's gross.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. The Big Toe. What a name. The Big Toe is a scary story for kids about a young boy who unearths a mysterious toe in his garden. It is based on a classic American folk tale and is sometimes known as the hairy toe or the skinny toe. A version of this story appeared in the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. One day, a boy was digging in the garden when he saw a big toe sticking out of the ground. He tried to pick it up, but it was stuck. It wouldn't budge. So he pulled as hard as he could and it come off in his hand. Then he heard something groan and scamper away. The boy took the big toe into the kitchen and showed it to his mum. That looks nice. That looks nice piece of meat," she said. "I'll put it in the soup and we'll have it for dinner." Ooh. That night, at the dinner table, the boy's father scooped the big toe out of the soup and chopped it up
Ooh,
into three pieces. The father, the mother, and the boy each ate a piece, and then they did the dishes. And when it got dark, they went to bed. The boy fell asleep almost at once, but in the middle of the night he was rudely awoken by a strange sound. He listened closely. It sounded like there was a voice coming from outside his window, and it was calling to him. Where is my big toe? It groaned. When the boy heard that, he got very scared, but he thought it doesn't know where I am. It will never find me. Then he heard the voice once again, only now it was closer. Where is my big toe? It groaned. The boy pulled the blankets over his head and closed his eyes. I'll only go to I'll go to sleep, he thought. When I wake up, it will be gone. But soon as he heard the back door open, and again he heard the voice, where is my big toe? It groaned. Then the boy heard footsteps move through the kitchen and into the dining room, into the living room, and into the front hall, then slowly climbing the stairs. Closer and closer they came. Soon they were in the upstairs hall. Now they were on the outside of his door. Where is my toe? The voice groaned. The boy watched in horror as his bedroom door opened. Shaking with fear, he threw his bedclothes over his head and listened as the footsteps slowly moved through the dark towards his bed. Then they stopped. Where is my toe? The voice groaned. You've got it. The big toe has an ultimate ending. When the boy hears the voice calling for its toe, he finds a strange looking creature up inside the chimney. The boy is so frightened he can't move. He just stands there and stares at it. Finally, he asks, What you got such big toes? Why have you got such big toes for? The creature answered, To look you through, og, and through. What you got such big claws for? To scratch up your jaw. Well, what have you got such big mouth for? To swallow you whole. Well, what have you got such sharp teeth for? To chop your bones. Whoa.
That is,
Don't ever go finding toes in the garden and taking it because you never know who it belongs to.
don't touch a toe if it comes out from
Yeah,
somewhere.
never. And then I'm going to do you one more story and then that will be the end because that will be an hour then. And it's called High Beams. And I'll do my thank yous and stuff and then we will end the show. But I'm just going to do this one last story. High Beams is a scary story about a young woman who goes out for a drink with her friend one night and decides to drive home on her own. A version of this story appeared in the book Scary Stories of to Tell in the Dark, which is part of the website. We'll have a couple of minutes chat after, guys, as well, and then I'll cut off. As the woman drove down a deserted highway, she noticed a long pair of highlights quickly approach her car from behind. When the car came closer, she noticed that it was going to overtake her. The car drew up beside her, but then the driver suddenly swerved back behind her car. She started getting nervous and kept an eye on the strange car in her rear view mirror. He pulled up dangerously close to her rear bumper and began flashing his high beams at her. The headlights dimmed for a moment, but then the high beams flashed again, and the car behind her surged forward. The car followed her very closely and on tight curves and over the hills. He would flash his high beams off and on. The frightened woman struggled to keep mm, the frightened woman struggled to keep her eyes on the road. and fought to urge to keep looking at the car behind her. Finally, she approached her exit, but the car continued to follow, flashing the high beams again and again. The terrified woman took out her mobile phone and dialed 911. When the operator answered, the woman screamed into the phone, "A car is following me. It keeps tailgating and blinking its lights at me." The woman gave her address, and in a few minutes she saw the red and blue lights of a police car in the distance. She breathes a sigh of relief as she pulled into her driveway. But suddenly the strange car pulled into the driveway behind her and began blinking its lights on and off like a maniac. The police car screeched to a halt on the woman's front lawn, and two police officers jumped out with their guns drawn. They pulled the man out of the strange car and forced him to lie face down on the lawn. They then handcuffed him and he screamed, "There's someone in her car! There's someone in her car!" The two policemen suddenly pointed their gun in the woman's direction and fired. The woman screamed, but when she turned around, she saw the bloody corpse of a murderer fall out of her back seat. There was a large butcher knife still clasped in his cold, dead hand. The police searched her back seat and found a Dutch tape, a blindfold, and a pair of handcuffs laying there. The woman realized that the man in the strange car had been trying to save her when the police released him. He explained that as he pulled up behind the car and his headlights lit up her back seat, he had seen a man with a butcher's knife rising up behind her. Just as the madman was about to stab her, he flashed his highlight beams and the figure crouched back down. "I flashed my high beams every time I saw him raise that knife," he said. Wow.
It seems like there's another part to that or something, you know? It finished very quick.
Well, it just says like little short stories and stuff like that. Let me see if it goes further down then. No, that was it.
But the ending, you know what I mean, was very abrupt.
I think that's what it's supposed to do. It's meant to make you think, and maybe they are going to follow it on or carry it on. I don't know, but that
Yeah.
was a creepy one as well. So
Yeah.
you had the Thing, Harold, the Red Spot, the Big Toe, and High Beams. Okay, so as you know, it's Halloween month. So next week on Lost Magics as well, guys, I will be doing more of these really creepy stories. I'm going to be keeping this website and doing some more. So obviously we know that Halloween is coming up. So next week on the All Hallows Eve, I'm going to be doing some more of the ghost stories on my channel, and also on the Bold and Bonkers as well, obviously doing some ghost stories on there. And there may possibly be some other stories that were physically told publicly at a bar or something, but we'll see if that happens as well. So we're going to have some really cool stuff to do on All Hallows Eve. Then
If
on
you want me, Sherry, I'll be here.
Halloween Day, I'm going to be doing some rituals and spells for people to help them like in everyday matters. I'm going to get some stuff put together and burn the names and what you're wanting help with, and I'm going to manifest that. So that's going to be on Halloween, and I'm going to play a couple of songs off of my tongue drum, and just to show my appreciation to the spirit world, because obviously Halloween is about remembering your ancestors and your loved ones. It's the time that the dead come back, the veil is thin, and so there's going to be some really cool stuff to go on, and I may even do a couple of creepy stories on that one as well. So some really, really exciting shows coming up. So next week, Friday, 9:30 p.m. again, guys, there will be more scary stories. Then we have got All Hallows Eve, as I said, stories and chat And maybe if people want to come up and join me on my actual channel, we can all like come together and bring some scary stories and share them with everybody and
That
make
sounds
the night.
cool.
And then on Halloween Day, the witch will do her magic and do some blessings, because obviously for us it's a new year for the witches, it's a new time, and a lot of people that are witches on Halloween like to do prayers and spells out to help themselves and others. So that is what I normally would do every year. So that will be my plans. Obviously, keep your eyes open for over the weekend, this weekend as well, because obviously Chris and Dakota are live Saturday and Sunday, 10 p.m. UK time. So don't miss their shows. They've got an amazing guest on Saturday. Keep an eye out for anyone else. Obviously, if people do want to join me up on my show for All Hallows Eve and on Halloween as well, please message me or let me know, or leave a message under this video or under one of my videos on my channel. I would like to say a big thank you to all of my guys that are in the room. Let me give you all a shout out as well to see who's in there. So we've got Scottish Outlooker, Bold and Bonkers. We've got the Paranormal United Network, Parapost, Drew, hello. We've obviously got Curtis, and we had all of the other people. And obviously, if my partner is watching as well, love you, babe. So yeah, a really, really good evening tonight, and I really thought it really helped with having Curtis's paranormal video and then some of his little spooky Halloween stories, and then going into my creepy and strange, bizarre ones. So we most definitely had a really good night. Obviously, I'm going to keep everything set up like this, and this is going to what it's going to be for the next couple of weeks. You're just going to see it look really freaky. You may see things be added because witches can't help but buy more decorations, so it may look even more by the time
It's
it comes
cool.
to that. So, but thank you everybody for coming in and for supporting. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your Halloween week and look forward to the real day of Halloween. So from me, lots of love, light and blessings. A big thank you to all of the supporters, networkers, all of our angels in the room. Thank all of you for all that you do, to the boys for allowing me to do my show again today. And thank you, Curtis, for joining my show this
Thank you,
evening.
Sherry. Thank you very much.
And is there anything you'd like to say to the guys quickly?
Just I'm happy to be on every show. If I can, as many shows as I can get on, I'll be here. Just, if you need me, I'll be here.
Oh yeah, and I've got loads. Yeah, and like I said, just message me if you're interested in joining, and anybody else as well. Obviously, yeah, and definitely, Drew. I do agree. There is definitely plenty of more room for me to get more skulls out, but I've got all of them out sitting there at the minute. So, but for me, guys, happy Halloween, or well, pre-Halloween, because we're not there yet completely. And I'll see you all very soon. Stay safe, stay real, stay spooky, and we'll see you all very soon. And a merry parting.
Be sure to visit baldandbonkers.net for all of our amazing projects and sneak peeks of what is to come.